Hi everybody, I'm Barbecue Bob with the Barbecue Guru, and we have Stephen Raichlen with us today, and we're gonna cook some great stuff on the Monolith Grill. Hi Stephen.
Bob. So I have a very cool menu for you. We're starting with tea-smoked duck and then salt slab roasted squash. So you ready?
I'm so excited.
Okay.
Yes, let's do this.
We have two beautiful ducks. You know, duck has a very fatty skin.
Yes, it does.
And we want to prick the skin with a sharp fork all over to help release some of that extra fat.
Okay.
And you'll notice when I prick, I'm just going through the skin, not into the meat underneath of it, because I don't want to release the blood.
Sure.
All right, so we'll come over.
And we're gonna get a nice crispy skin as an end.
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of a two-stage cooking process. So first, low and slow will be about 275 to cook the meat, render out the fat. And then right at the end, we'll pump up the heat to crisp the skin.
Sounds great.
All right, so we'll come on this side. So that's step number one. Now step number two, we're going to make a simple rub.
Okay.
And the rub starts with sugar for sweetness, and salt and pepper, you know, those basic flavors.
Sure.
And then 3 traditional Chinese flavorings. The first is called 5-spice powder. And 5-spice powder is a Chinese spice blend.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of sweet spices.
Got a wonderful aroma.
And then we add ground coriander and finally ground cinnamon. And whenever I make a rub, I like to mix it with my fingertips to break up any lumps in the sugar or the spices. It's okay. Beautiful. Smell that. So a little bit sweet, a little bit anisey. First thing we'll do is we'll sprinkle some of the rub in the cavity of the duck. The duck actually has 2 cavities, so that's the main cavity, and then up here there is the front cavity. All right, so sprinkle the rub, and I'll do that for the other duck as well. I have here some sesame oil.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite flavorings.
Me too. Oh.
When you use an oil, I like an oil that delivers flavor, right? Olive oil, sesame oil, hazelnut oil, walnut oil.
Sure.
All right? All right, so that's our sesame oil. And while you're brushing that with sesame oil, I'm going to sprinkle the rub on the duck on all sides. So in tea smoking, the Chinese actually use a mixture of black tea, white rice, brown sugar, and aromatic spices like cinnamon and whole star anise. Okay, now for the American barbecue twist, and so we get plenty of smoke flavor, we start with cherry wood chips.
Okay.
To this we'll add our tea, our rice.
I was surprised to hear about the rice.
I know. And it gives you a smoke flavor utterly different than the wood smoke we use.
Okay.
Once again, our cinnamon sticks.
Sure.
Okay. Star anise and granulated orange you can use, or fresh orange.
Wonderful.
All right. And this is our smoking mixture. So what we'll do now is place half of the smoking mixture on the coals. Come up to heat. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. Okay. And you smell that? It's almost like a cotton candy, that burning sugar.
Yeah, that burning
interesting,
sugar
right?
is really interesting.
Okay, so now let's finish up setting this guy up.
Okay. And I'll put a drip pan in here so that it catches our drippings.
Good. And now let's place the ducks on the grate.
And I'm going to clip the pit probe on there for you.
Yep. So all we have to do now is just lower the grill lid. We're all set here on the temp.
Stephen, tell me about your barbecue sauce for this duck. It sounds very interesting.
Okay, so this is a Chinese barbecue sauce, like an American barbecue sauce. It plays sweet against salty, against aromatic. The sweetness comes from hoisin sauce, sort of sweet and salty. So that will go in the saucepan. When you have a thick ingredient, if you pour your rice wine in like this, and then you can kind of just dissolve that mixture and you don't waste any.
There you go.
All right.
That's a smart move.
All right.
Great little
that
tip.
will go in. For a little sweetness, we've got honey.
Okay.
So we've got sesame oil for a nutty flavor, soy sauce, reinforce the salt, and finally minced fresh ginger and chopped fresh cilantro.
Excellent.
this is just pretty much a quick heat. We want to just melt these ingredients together, simmer the sauce
Okay.
a little bit.
Now, do you put this sauce on the duck as it cooks, or is it just a finishing?
I find whenever you baste chicken or duck with a sweet sauce, it makes the skin soggy.
Okay.
I really want to taste that smoke and spice before
Absolutely.
I put the sauce on.
Perfect.
Great. So there's your sauce. So now for the duck, you can see we're well on our way. Fat is starting to render. The spices are melting into the skin.
Yeah.
This is just a matter of time.
Okay. Let's talk squash.
Okay. Well, this is the time of year for all these wonderful fall squashes. This is an acorn squash. So first step, we want to cut the squash in half through the side. Okay?
Yep.
Just going to scrape out the seeds.
I don't do a lot with acorn squash.
Uh-huh.
Would you say it's a sweet or savory squash?
It's sweet-ish, but it can go either way in terms, I mean, you could add, you can make a pumpkin pie with it.
Yeah, of course.
Do dessert with it.
Right.
But it definitely has savory applications. Okay. Now, this is a salt slab. It comes from a salt mountain in northern Pakistan. So what we've done is gradually preheated the salt slab. We're working about 350 degrees.
Okay.
And we're going to start, this is again a two-step grilling process. We'll start the two halves of the squash on the salt slab. This porous flesh is going to absorb some of that salt flavor.
Right.
Plus, this mellows out the heat, moderates the heat, so we get very even cooking.
Sounds
so,
great.
Roasting time, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the squash.
Okay.
So it's been about 2.5 hours, and we pumped the heat up to 350 to crisp the skin.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Take a look.
Wonderful.
Really nice. The skin is golden. You can see it's crisp.
Yeah.
And a couple ways to test for doneness. One, you just kind of wiggle the drumstick and it moves freely.
Right.
And of course, if you want to be scientific about it, we're looking for about 185 degrees. There you go. Bingo. Okay. 2. And here's that hoisin barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
And there are your Chinese tea smoked ducks, hoisin barbecue sauce.
Wonderful. We need
Pretty
to dig
simple
in.
and easy. Okay, let's try it. All right, we'll come in and take off the leg. You can see it's perfectly cooked.
Sure is.
And look at the beautiful color. Now that is not undercooked duck. That is actually the smoke ring. I must show you're showing a lot of self-restraint.
I am. I want to dig in there right now.
You know what, Bob? I can't wait. Dig in there.
I can't wait either.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. So first, without the sauce, duck incredibly tender.
Yeah. It's got wonderful, rich flavors.
I get that smoke and
get
a
that
little bit of the
smoke.
orange peel.
Absolutely.
Cinnamon.
Yes.
Then
Now we're going to
dip in the sauce.
Okay.
Man, duck has such a rich flavor,
So the flavors you used, very strong in their raw form, but they've really mellowed out, and it's just a wonderful balance of flavors.
Yeah.
But it's much more mild than I expected.
Right, because
it's actually very nice.
Right, but the other thing I like about this recipe is how you continue the flavors through, right?
Sure.
So you've got star anise in the smoking mixture,
Right.
Right? You've got 5-spice powder in the rub, and you pick up the star anise again in the barbecue sauce.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, good.
Great work.
All right. So from Hong Kong to Pennsylvania to you,
Wonderful.
tea smoked duck. Meanwhile, let's prepare the fillings.
Yes.
So on our other monolith, I've got this set up for caveman grilling.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll just heat the pan, and we'll start by adding 1 tablespoon of butter. Then we can add thinly slivered bacon
Okay.
and finely chopped shallots. All right, and we'll just cook those along to crisp up the bacon. All right, now once the bacon and the shallots are lightly brown, sizzling lightly brown,
Yeah.
I'll add finely chopped pecans.
Okay.
And for kind of a little sweet tartness, these are dried cranberries.
All right.
And we'll cook these, same idea. Always just brown the nuts, you know, that's where the flavor is, on that edge between brown and burnt.
Sure.
Once these ingredients are brown, sizzling, we'll just put them here, let them cool, and then the last step, we'll fold in grated cheddar cheese and maple syrup.
Wonderful.
Meanwhile, back to our squash. It's been about 45 minutes. And the way you tell the squash is done, I call it the Charmin test. You squeeze the side, and if it's squeezably soft,
there you go.
The squash is done. Okay,
fantastic.
So what I'm going to do is just turn the squash over, and you see beautiful caramelized edge, great kind of sweet, salty squash flavor.
Okay.
All right, now to finish up the filling, we'll simply add coarsely grated cheddar cheese.
Excellent.
Stir that in. Beautiful. And then will you add the maple syrup for me?
Yep.
That's our filling. Now we'll come back here and spoon the filling into the hollow part of the squash, the cavity.
And now how much longer do you roast it once the stuffing's in?
Well, once the stuffing is in, we'll cook the squash just long enough to melt the cheese, warm the filling up. It'd be about another 10-15 minutes.
I'm just going to readjust this piece of bacon right here.
I think that's a good idea. And then the last thing, I saved about a tablespoon of butter. So let's just put 1 piece of butter on top of each of these. That way, as we're warming the mixture, the butter melt in, extra richness.
Sounds great.
Extra richness. We'll close the grill. We want to pump this heat up now to about 400 degrees.
Okay, you got it.
So we get some good caramelization. All right, well, it's been about an hour altogether, and take a look.
Look at those.
Beautiful caramelization on the top. Again, that Charmin effect.
Yeah.
You can see the squash is tender. Let's see how we did.
All right, now we get to eat.
Now, this is a savory dish.
It sure is.
Eat it as a, make a great...
This would be a main course for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we have our duck, we have our squash, so I guess you're going to take care of the next course, right?
I think I am. I got a surprise for you.
All right.
So you know what I did here? I'm making a bundt cake on the monolith grill. Steven's not here yet, and we're doing some smoked duck today. We're going to do some stuffed squash, and we don't have a dessert. So I'm going to surprise him with this cinnamon and brown sugar bundt cake. I'm doing a bourbon glaze for it. So let's get it on. He'll be here in about an hour and a half. So we're going to cook that at about 350 with a pizza stone under, indirect. And we're going to have a beautiful bundt cake in about 40 minutes. So Steven, you cooked some great dishes today. And before you got here, I threw something on the grill and I want to surprise you with it.
All right.
All right, where is it? Check this out.
Whoa, a bundt cake.
I did a bundt cake on the grill.
Fantastic.
It's cinnamon and brown sugar bundt cake with a bourbon glaze.
Man, that looks awesome. How about we smoke some ice cream to go with the bundt cake?
That would be phenomenal.
Okay, smoked ice cream.
Yeah.
So I'm using wood chips, cherry wood chips, but unsoaked because I want a ton of smoke in a very short amount of time.
Okay.
And here's the secret. So
look at this.
All right. So we have 2 quarts of ice cream we unmolded in a glass bowl, and most important, over a pan of ice to keep it cold.
All right.
So we'll go on the grill. The idea here is we want to generate a lot of smoke in a very short amount of time to lend a patina of smoke to the ice cream.
Sounds great. I never had smoked ice cream.
Well, I don't know that I've ever had barbecued bundt cake. 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay.
Open it up. You can see the ice cream has a beautiful patina of smoke on it already.
Yes.
Okie doke. So there.
Look at that.
Is your smoked ice cream.
Excellent.
All right, let's put it together. And a scoop of smoked ice cream.
Here we go.
And smoky ice cream.
How about that?
And it almost tastes like a toasted marshmallow.
It does.
Roasted marshmallow.
Excellent.
Well, Bob, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being on your show here.
Thank you. It was great having you. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
We had a lot of great recipes that Steven brought to the table here today. So if you want to check these out, come to bbqguru.com.
We'll also post the recipes on my website, barbecuebible.com.